Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I am going to evaluate my target speaker, Toastmaster Gokul. He is going to do his level 4 project 1 speech, which is managing a difficult audience. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when he or she presents outside of the Toastmasters Club. So this is generally a very most interesting project. I request all the members to kindly turn on your video so that this will definitely give a realistic audience experience to the speaker, as well as there will be so many surprises hidden in between his speech. So all the best for the target speaker. Over to TM Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Guruparan, for that nice introduction to the speech of Toastmaster Gokul Ram. And over to you. All the best.
Gokul Ram, you are on mute, Gokul Ram.
Turn on your.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, got it. So good evening to all my fellow Toastmasters and guests present in today's meeting. So before I start my speech, let me ask a quick question to everyone. If I give you $1 million and ask you to live without food for 1 week, can anyone take up this challenge and do it perfectly without even taking food for 1 week? Is there anyone who could do that? Okay, I couldn't see anyone raising their hands. So it shows how important food is. So today I'm here to speak on the topic, we are what we eat. So food is something that is very much important in everyone's life because it is one of the basic source of energy for our body. Even if you're going to skip without food for 1 day, we'll be mentally exhausted, physically tired, and we wouldn't be able to do works with full potential that like we were doing before. So that's how much important food is. If you see in our world is filled with multiple cuisines, different meals, and thousands of different variety of foods. Yet, when we reduce them into their individual components, there are just a handful of ingredients that is really necessary for our body. And all other ingredients are just like an add-ons, and it's used for taste as well as for decoration purposes and for nothing else. So these basic ingredients, if you see what it is, as mentioned earlier by Toastmaster Sekhar, it is carbohydrates, healthy fats, and proteins. So if we are going to get imbalance in any one of these basic molecules, then we will be getting its associated health related problems. Both our mental as well as physical well-being is actually decided with the food that we eat and drink. And moreover, all the composition of our cell membrane, blood, hormones, and whatnot, bone marrow, bones, everything is made about the food
I
that
think
we
fasting is very important for everyone, and many researchers has found that fasting is controlling the sugar level for sugar patients, and many things are happening. What do you think about that? I think fasting is very essential.
Yes, Toastmaster Sekhar Prem, I accept the point that fasting is definitely a useful tool to actually become healthy as well as for other purposes. But when it is done in an extreme, it can even get into it can even bring in several health problems. Like even if you see bodybuilders, they do fasting for a certain period of time, and at the end of that time, they do something called as a cheat day, where they take in of excess calories. So it shows that if you're going to do something in excess, definitely it will bring you certain problems related with that. Now, let me continue with my speech. So as I said earlier, physical and mental well-being is directly related with the food that we eat and drink. So the question now that really arises is, are we really eating healthy? And is the food that we eat really determines our mood and emotions? Let's see the answer for this one by one. First, are we really eating healthy? So before you interrupt me, let me interrupt you guys. So let me ask this question to Toastmaster Joey. What did you have for your breakfast today?
I had my breakfast dosa with mutton curry.
Okay, that's a wonderful breakfast combination, Toastmaster Joey. Toastmaster Gurubaran, what about you?
I had idli.
Okay, that's good, Toastmaster Gurubaran. So if you see a typical Indian diet, it would be either dosa or idli in the breakfast. And as Toastmaster Joey included mutton, it's full of proteins. That is really good to have it in the breakfast. But if you see a typical Indian diet, it will be always rich in carbohydrates and fat and very minimal in protein. So this actually creates an imbalance in the balance of diet. A well-balanced diet is not only required for our health, but also for our overall body composition. So if something is going to lag, like protein in the Indian diet, it actually brings on several health problems like decrease in the muscle mass. And if you are going to break down your muscle,
I strongly
muscles,
agree with your point, Toastmaster Gokulram. Yes, it is obviously right. You are right that it will lead your body and mental health to bad. So if we have our food or in excess level, we might have some body damages. I mean, muscles, health, and usually when you are going for a gym, it will be we need to take proper diet. In case of any excess amount, it also leads to some defect. You can proceed with yours.
thank you, Toastmaster Joey, for your valuable point. I really appreciate that. So yeah, as I was discussing earlier, Indian diet really doesn't have much protein in it. So because of that, we wouldn't be having increased muscle mass and our strength would be decreased. And if there is some muscle breakdown that is going to happen, the muscle synthesis time will be very, very, very high. If it is going to be very high, we get fatigue and even our strength deteriorates day by day. So this is how an Indian diet looks like. On the other hand, if you look at the average calorie that is being consumed by an average Indian, it's around 2,200 kilocalories, which is 12% lesser than what it is recommended by the Food Authority of India. It actually differs from person to person, but if you see on an average, it is 2,200 calories, which is 12% lesser than what it is recommended. So due to this lesser calorie intake, people get health problems like anemia, and even some get cancer and heart diseases due to their intake of calories. So and also on the other hand, if you see the processed food in India, it is really in high demand. If you see in all the markets, all the grocery shops, you might find at least one packaged and processed food. Not all the processed food are bad, but those processed food which are high in salt, sugar, and excess fat is considered to be unhealthy.
Toastmaster
Yes.
Gogram, sorry to interrupt. One question is,
Yeah, your job
I
is
can't control one question inside my mind. You started
Yes,
your
yes.
speech by saying, can anyone live without eating, without being fasting for 1 week? Do you know any person had lived without eating for 1 week? Do you know any kind of person kind of that? Just asking out of curiosity. Thanks.
Okay, I know one of the fitness influencer in YouTube who actually did fasting for 40 days. He just took only water diet, and his name is Connor Murphy. Even you can Google it, 40 days diet, 40 days fasting by Connor Murphy. So he didn't consume anything solid. It was just liquid diet. He used to have water and watermelon juice. That's it for 40 days. And even you can see this in YouTube, I guess. If you Google it as 40 days fasting by Connor Murphy, you will get the result. Thank you, Toastmaster Rishi Kumar, for that wonderful question. So let me continue with my speech now. So do you know which is India's favorite potato chips company? Everyone would have consumed it. Even I have consumed it so much time in my childhood as well as now. It's a very famous potato chip company.
Less.
Yes, of course. That's well said by Toastmaster Gurubaran. But how many of you love Lays and love eating Lays? Okay, I could see only Toastmaster Gurubaran, no one likes Lays. Okay, Toastmaster Priya, Toastmaster Joy, okay. So let me give you a bad news about Lays. So if you're going to take a 10 rupees packet of Lays, it actually contains quarter of the recommended daily intake of fat. So if you're going to consume 4 or 3 packets of Lays, you're almost going to exhaust your recommended daily intake of fat. And if you're going to consume anything more than that, then your those fat will start accumulating in your body as cholesterol and unwanted fat, and which gives problems like heart attack and raise in blood pressure, etc. So how many of you love Cheetos? And I am a big fan of Cheetos, and I love eating Cheetos since my childhood days. Okay, I could see again a lot of hand raises. So again, let me give you bad news about Cheetos. Yes.
I disagree with you on a point. Because
Yes.
if you open a 10 rupee Lay's packet, there are hardly 10 chips, and that too in broken pieces. So when you say
Okay, if you
a day's worth of fat is consumed within a 10 rupee packet of Lay's, I couldn't help but completely disagree with your point. If you
okay, so
a 10 rupee packet
yes.
of Lay's, it wouldn't even satisfy your hunger. It's barely there is any chips left. It's a bag full of air. So when you say that, I wanted to do a proper research on that. Just I don't see any research statistics
Okay.
right now on that.
Let me clarify your doubt, Toastmaster Arul. I'm not saying with the number of chips that they have in their package, might be there might be some corruption behind it, so they reduce the number of chips inside it. But if you see the nutritional fact behind the packet of Lay's, you would see that a Lay's chips contain around, a Lay's chip contain around fat around 10 grams. So if you see the recommended daily intake of fat, it is around 44 to 50 grams. So if 10 gram, it's just quarter of it. I'm just saying this not with the amount of chip that they have inside the packet, but with the nutritional fact that they provide. I hope I clarified you, Toastmaster Arul. Even if you want, you can Google it by seeing the nutritional fact of Lay's in Google. Okay. So as I said earlier about Cheetos, Cheetos has the highest amount of sodium content in it. It's around 240 milligrams, and our daily intake it is around 2000 milligrams. So it is not a big issue. But among all the chips that you eat, Cheetos has the highest amount of sodium, that is around 240 milligrams. Now let's look into the fast food in India. So fast food business is one of the tremendous growing businesses in India. And it has been predicted that between the year of 2022 to 2025, there would be an annual growth of more than 20% in fast food business alone. So if you're going to start a fast food business, definitely it's going to be tremendous business for you in the future. So if you see, fast food contains a lot of saturated and trans fat. So when it is consumed in excess, you get problems like diabetes. And if you know, India is the second country with most number of diabetes patients, and that too type 2 diabetes patients. So if you see the reason behind it, it's nothing but fast food. Excess intake of fast food can lead to diabetes. And how many of you have visited McDonald's? So I haven't visited in my lifetime to McDonald's. Have anyone gone to McDonald's?
Yes, gone.
Yes, Gandhi. I could see Gandhi. I could see Toastmaster Sekhar. So do you know their trademark and signature dish of McDonald's? Does anyone know?
Burger and fried chicken.
Yeah, burger. There is a specific name given to that burger. Do you know that? Okay, let me
I'm
say
not
that.
a big fan of burger.
Okay, fine. So their trademark dish is known as the Big Mac, which is actually a burger. And this Big Mac is actually sold in India in different way. Let me share my screen. So is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So in India, they sell this Big Mac in the name of Maharaja Mac, and its cost is around 300, maybe 250 to 300. And comparing with other countries, the Big Mac price is really cheap in India. There is a reason behind it, because the population out here in India is really high. So the profit extraction by McDonald's is not going to be differing with other countries. Like if you have 100 units, if 10% buys it, you get 1000 rupees. And similarly, if you have 10 units and sell it to 100%, you get the same profit. So similar logic is used in this one too. So it is really cheap in India. And also there are a lot of people who loves this particular food called Maharaja Mac or the Big Mac, as said in other countries. So if we see some disturbing facts about this Big Mac, the first point is it has more than 540 calories. So once you consume a Big Mac, your blood sugar level is going to shoot up and it will get into abnormal rate of blood levels. I mean, blood sugar levels. And the second point to be noted here is, after you consume a Big Mac, you really become so much addictive towards it. It's mainly because the main reason behind this is they add a lot of fructose corn syrup and sodium, which makes us addictive and crave more for Big Mac. And the third here is, it contains a lot of sodium in it, around 1000 milligram of sodium. So this much sodium, what it does is it can spur dehydration in our body. So due to this dehydration, the symptoms is almost similar to that of hunger. So once we get dehydrated, we feel like we are hungry and we need to get another round of Big Mac. So that's the strategy that's been followed by the Big Mac. And the fourth point, and this is one of the scariest point to be noted about such dishes, and that is, usually human body takes around 24 to 72 hours to fully digest a food. But if you see a Big Mac, if you consume a full Big Mac, it will take more than 3 days to fully digest. And the trans fat that it contains is around 1.4 grams, which takes around more than 50 days to fully digest. So this is some of the scariest thing that is to be noted about such food items. So if you are going to encounter such food items in the future, try to keep it as occasional as possible and not to consume it in a regular basis. Now let's look into, does food really affect our mood and emotions? So researchers have found that if we are going to include complex carbohydrates and lean proteins in our diet, it really enhances our mood. Example, if you're going to include complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, beans, etc., it actually produces a chemical called serotonin in our brain, which increases happiness and feel good hormones in our body. And second is the protein rich foods like chicken, beef, turkey, and fish, etc. When we are going to consume it, it actually releases a kind of chemical called dopamine, as well as neopinephrine. I am not sure about the pronunciation. So both this chemical, what it does is it increases our concentration, mood, as well as our ability to think in critical situations. So, and fruits and vegetables, on the other hand, it is really rich in minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants, which has shown to improve happiness in humans. So to conclude, my speech, I would say that we have to be really cautious of what we eat. If you are going to be cautious of what you eat in the future, you can awaken your gut senses and be more and make better choices of what you eat and how much you eat in future. Thank you. Over to TMOD.